Today is our Tuesday real estate investing zoom.com Zoom call. We get together and we talk about all things real estate investing, from brand new wannabe investors and bird doggers and wholesalers to flippers and investors and real estate agents, brokers, and vendors, coaches. And we talk about all things on how to increase our income together and how to build more wealth together. And so I'm really lucky today. As you may know, I'm a real estate broker in LA and I sell houses throughout California. I'm building a national team. I don't bring people on here for me to sell or promote and get paid on. I bring people I think will add value to your business. And I know that in the long run, that works out for me. Today's guest is somebody who I don't get a penny for promoting him. I've been on his podcast. I've been excited to share with his group, and I've taught some on his platform before. I see him at real estate investing events, but most importantly, I see that he's been able to help people go from zero to successful in real estate investing with a network of programs, products, services, and a team of people. So I'm really excited to invite today Sam Sadat, who is the proprietor of Sam's Real Estate Club. Hey, Sam, how are you?
Hi, Bill. I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. You know, the last time, and just for those, if you think back to 2 years ago, almost to the day, Sam had invited me to be a guest on his program to teach about probate real estate. And so if you think back, actually it wasn't 2 years ago, it was like a year and 4 or 5 months ago, because it was like the week of the riots in Santa Monica. And so we had COVID and all that. And then we had the riots in and Sam has a beautiful office in the beautiful part of Santa Monica. But the beautiful part was where the riots were going on. So here I'm like parking in the back in the dark. Sam came out and met me and we got together and did this call. I've just seen him a few times since then, but I just appreciate his dedication to his team and to his group. So Sam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Bill. I'm happy to be here.
So give us a little background. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you come from? It doesn't sound like you have a Valley Girl accent to me. And then
No, not
how
at
did you get into
all.
real estate investing?
Yeah, not at all. Well, I came to America as a teenager back in the mid 70s, and I went to University of Texas in Austin. I studied
Horns?
physics. Yeah, exactly, Longhorns. And then I studied physics and engineering.
Wow.
When I graduated, I came to California. At the time, I was married with my first wife. So we came together in California, and I got a job over at Mattel Corporation. Are you
Wow, in
familiar
El
with
Segundo.
Mattel? Yeah, exactly. So I was in the R&D department, research and development. So we had a big
Wow.
red tag on our name tags. It was like a red dot that would distinguish you from others, because this department was supposed to be like a Pentagon or some sort of like a secret place, because they did not want their proprietary, new toys. And at that time, you may recall, for those of you, older people out there, like me, you may recall it was just the beginning of this electronic age, the new, like a football game that Mattel had just come up with, and all sorts of other stuff, which by today's standards, they're so cheesy, man. I mean, when I look at some of the old ones, they still got them. They're like little dots and little lines that are like, the quarterback is like going back and throwing a dot to somebody who looks like a little line, and they catch it. I mean, it was just really ridiculous. But anyways, that was the beginning of the electronic age. And I worked there for a little while, but I tell you, after a bit, I realized two things that were very important for me. Number one, I did not want to work with things. I wanted to work with people. And
Mm.
number two, I did not want to limit my earning potential by working as an employee.
Oh,
I tell everybody, including my sons, and both are business owners. My older son is an attorney and very successful, and he worked for a big company right when he got out of law school. He was an honor student, magna cum laude. He was hired, and he was making 250,000 a year. I mean, for somebody who's like in 20s, 250,000, and that's not too long ago. And I told him, look, man, this is not the way to go. Okay, work here for a little while, learn what you need to do, and then get on, open your own business, we as human beings are meant to be free. When you work for a corporation, you have no freedom. And the foundation of our existence as human beings, the foundation of existence is freedom. Okay, people die for freedom. Look at how many people died in the American Revolution for us to be here, have a democracy. Okay, so because of that important factor, which is, having been free, I apply it to the business world. So since he started his own business, which was only like 4 years ago, he's making more money. He's a lot happier, and
Right.
there's no cap on his earning. And
Right.
same thing goes for us, all of us. And it was something that I wanted to explore for myself. And I said, I'm going to leave, much to my father's chagrin. He was not happy about it. God bless his soul, because he passed a couple of years ago. But he wasn't happy. He said, I paid all this money for you to get educated. You're an engineer, you're a physicist. Why don't you just go and work in your field? And I said no. So I left it, and soon thereafter I started. I picked real estate. I said, you know what? I am just going to learn this thing, and I like finance. I like numbers. My math is good. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to get into real estate finance.
Wow.
So basically, I haven't sold the property in my life, because all I did have been doing basically was finance for a number of years. And then the California earthquake happened back, or some of you may recall, back in 1994, January 17th, at 4 o'clock in the morning, and my life was upside down. I lost my home in Santa Monica, which I had bought for $1 million back over 20 years ago, which right now is about $6 million, the same house. I lost my house, I lost apartment buildings, I virtually got wiped out.
Wow.
So then we just packed up with the wife and two boys. We moved to Colorado because it was too traumatic. Both of them were traumatized because everything they had in our house on 12th Street, north of Montana. For those of you guys are familiar with Santa Monica, beautiful area of Santa Monica, one of the most expensive zip codes. The house came off the foundation. Everything that my kids had in their room fell to the ground and broke. I
Wow.
mean, they were both under their beds, because remember, you guys probably know we had earthquake training and so on and so forth. But the long and short of it is, we packed up, went to Colorado, and I did 6 months of sabbatical. And the sabbatical in the Rockies basically turned my life around. And instead of me feeling sorry for myself and regretting and kicking myself in the butt, and or say, hey, what happened to me? Why me? I took responsibility, accepted where I was, and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to start all over again. So I started a company again in Colorado. I built it up, and for 6 years, 6 years later, I sold the company, moved back to California back in
Wow.
2003, and that's when I started my real estate investment club, because I always had the passion for teaching, for
Mm.
mentoring, for
Mm.
consulting, and I
Mm.
always wanted to help other people, because to me, reaching the top without having a lot of people around you is just such a lonely place. If you reach the top of the pinnacle, or the pinnacle of success, you want to have other people there. So one of the most, I think, gratifying things in my life has been helping other people to achieve their goal, to get into investment properties, to learn real estate as a business, okay, as an investor, not just as an agent, because Bill, you're an agent. You have a different hat on when you are an agent as opposed to when you're an investor. You guys know what I'm talking about. When you are an investor, you look at things very differently. Okay, when you're an agent, you primarily, okay, I got to put the contract together, how much commission I make, and so on and so forth. So I have been teaching for the past almost 20 years now, 19 years. I've been teaching, educating, mentoring people in Southern California through my real estate club. Sam's Real Estate Club of Los Angeles is like Sam's Club with a real estate somewhere in there. So if you want to find me, it's very easy to find me. Just Sam's Club, okay, real estate. That's it. So I've been
Love it,
teaching,
man. I love
mentoring.
it.
Yeah, and the reviews, we have over 100 reviews with 5 star, almost 5 star. And, that has been the driving force in my life, helping people. Because every time I help somebody achieve their goals, it's like I have achieved a little bit of spiritual satisfaction, a little bit of emotional satisfaction. And that's been basically what I've been doing. And I'm here with you now. So I think I put it in a nutshell for you, as much as I could.
Well, I have a list of questions for you, but I want to emphasize to everybody who's on the call today, something that Sam said. If you've been on my call before, you know that I try to live by the creed from my coach, Zig Ziglar. He said, you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want.
Right.
And so one of the reasons I do this call is to help people, whether you're an investor raising money or you're brand new and want to get started. My job is to help you. If I help enough people, it works out for me. One way I can help you is encourage you to participate, because the more you give, the more you get. By turning on your camera, by asking questions, by engaging with people, the more you do that on this call, the more you do it in life, the more money you make, the more wealth you create. So I encourage all of you, if you have questions, to put in the chat box. You can raise your little hand there on the Zoom call thing, or if you just want to unmute yourself and jump in family style, unless it gets out of hand, that will be fine. But I'd love to have some questions. And here's a chance to ask a man who I've seen coaching hundreds of people. I don't know how many in your career for the last 20 years, but I'm sure thousands of people that he's helped coach and have helped many people make a lot of money and build lives for themselves. Just real quick though, Sam, was one of the things, the ColecoVision, was that the football game that you worked on?
Which one?
ColecoVision?
ColecoVision, no.
Okay, a different one. Okay. Somebody in the chat box thought maybe that was the game.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Okay. And I put your link and stuff. I'll put it again in the chat box if you're interested. But it's samsrealestateclub.com. And so there's some people looking to reach out. Okay, no questions yet. So let me ask you a question. So I get this. I'm sure you must get this a lot too. I see you at the LA, used to be called the LA Real Estate Investors Club. Now it's LA County Real Estate Association.
LA County Real Estate Association.
Lloyd Siegel, great program. Shout out to Lloyd a week from Thursday at the Inman Center in Culver City. Sam's always there. I always go there and meet people. I don't sell anything. I just go there and meet people because I love the energy. But imagine there you meet somebody who wants to get into real estate, they want to get investing, or they're on this call, and they don't know where to start. So what should be the first step that somebody takes who knows they want to make more money, they want to build some more wealth, but they're just not sure how to get started? What are the first steps you recommend?
Right. I mean, you just put your finger on it right now. You know, with the technology available to us, I mean, I don't know, no one should complain about lack of education. In fact, we have too much education, too much knowledge, too much information. But there is a distinction between knowledge, okay, and information. Okay, information, there is a lot of it, you're bombarded by it all the time, but true knowledge, you know, the specific knowledge that will help you succeed, you can find virtually, not only watching YouTube, you know, or basically searching the net, but also you just put your finger on it. Networking, guys, networking. I mean, to me, networking has been the foundation of my success. And I cannot overemphasize the importance of getting out there, meeting people eye to eye, belly to belly, shake their hands. Of course, now, luckily, COVID is gone, so we can shake hands again. You know, hug people. You know, I mean, we are social animals. We need to be near each other. I mean, that's just a fact. And being secluded, sitting in front of Zoom, okay, we can exchange some ideas, but that's really not networking. To me, networking is the exchange of ideas, being together, looking at each other's eyes, and really exchanging business cards, you know, all of that. So networking is really a foundation of your success, one of the biggest pillars of your success. And the other thing is that a lot of people ignore that. They think that, okay, well, education is expensive. Oh yeah, well, haven't you tried ignorance? Where has that got you? I mean, look at how much people lose in terms of money and time by being ignorant and trial and error. So the other part of, you know, helping you reach the pinnacle of success, to me, is having a good mentor. I had a good mentor, more than one. I'm sure you had. I had a spiritual mentor. I had a financial mentor. All of us, anyone who I have seen that have achieved any form of success, they have had a mentor. They were consulted, they were mentored, they had somebody that they could bounce ideas off of. They had somebody who was able to impart, you know, and convey, new concepts to them. And that's what is important, and a lot of people don't get it. which I believe the combination of the two, having a good mentor, being a part of a networking group, attending as many of these events as you can, building a database of who's got properties, who's got money, create a database for yourself, whatever form you wanna create, be in touch with these people, follow-ups. I mean, a big part of my business and the way I've made money was to proper follow-ups. I mean, most people may contact somebody, but they never follow up with them. If you just keep that in every couple of weeks, every month, just pick up the phone and say, hey, hello, I'm here. And not trying to sell you anything. Whenever you're ready, let's do some business. I mean, that goes a long way. So it's really not a secret, man. I mean, the secret of success is all there. You know, it's not that the secrets are not known. It's like people are lazy. I mean, the majority of the people are just lazy. And I don't blame him, because the American method has always been the lazy man's way to riches. You know, they just, it's a little book, or go to a seminar, fly to Florida, or go to Texas, or sit in front of somebody who shows you the pictures of a plane and yachts and everything else, and say, I'm making a lot of money, and I did that so fast. And you know what? I'm going to teach you how to do it fast. Well, that's BS, folks.
It is BS.
Okay, maybe less than 1/4% of the people are lucky enough to just Midas touch and go out there and make all the money. The majority of us, like us, will have to bust our buns to make money, and we have to follow a procedure. We have to go through life, pay a price, pay the dues. There is no shortcut to success.
Yeah, the shortcut's hard work every day.
Exactly.
That's
Work hard
the
and work smart.
Every day.
And we just talked about how to do that a little bit. And those are the things that are important. And if you think you're just going to get there spending, I mean, I know people that have come to my club and joined my VIP programs, which is only like a couple of thousand one time, and we give them tremendous resources, local help, local everything. They go to Texas, learn from somebody who doesn't know anything about California, and particularly LA real estate. And they think when they come back, they're rich. They come back with a stack of DVDs and books and all. And guess what? They're going to sell them all 2 years later down the road in some kind of a garage sale. I've seen that happen all the time.
All the time.
So
I see too.
It's not the information that's missing. A lot of times is the ability to act upon your information, to take action. And that's what I'm good at, because I kick butt. You know, once you become a VIP, once you show me that you're motivated to get there, then I'm on you. I'm on you spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I motivate you, but ultimately, I can give you all of that, but you gotta move. You gotta also show action, and don't fall into this notion, or false notion, that, you can get to the riches very quickly. That is not gonna happen.
So somebody took actions. Preston, he asked the question. Preston, you still there?
Hello, yes. All right, so I actually have like a investment proposal, I guess you could say. And, me and a couple of my friends are actually getting in onto a business, and it's something in like Key West, like Florida particularly. But, I'm not sure if we need like a C Corp to like begin this, because everyone's allocating like a specific amount of money towards like this investment. So, I mean, we probably need a C Corp, right? Because I already have like all this thing lined up, and then the thing is, like, the properties in Key West right now is it's like a really popping market right now, especially if you know where that's kind of like the thing with real estate. If you know where to invest, your return will be really high. That's kind of prevalent in like business and stuff like that. It has to have a market. But I was just wondering, like, if me and my friends are trying to get into a business together, like purchase a property and then like list it up on Airbnb, do we need a C Corp to like begin that?
So, neither Samurai are attorneys. And if you're doing it in Florida, you probably need to get a Florida attorney to give you advice on the best format for holding property. If you're raising money, that's a whole nother issue. So again, I think you need to.
Let's just put this into a picture where we're trying to invest in a property in California, not necessarily Florida. Let's put it in like a California situation. All right, so let's just say me and 3 of my buddies are trying to buy a property here in Palo Verde, in the you know, by the beach and stuff like that.
Right.
Do we need a C corp to like start that? If
Okay,
we
you don't
were,
need anything. The question is, what's the best format for you tax-wise and liability-wise? That really gets into some personal details on your finances, your goal, and your partner's goals, and who you're raising money from. So I kind of shy away. I think I see a lot of presentations that they'll tell you, you know, the best format is an LLC. The best format is this kind of a trust. There's a lot of options, but you want the right option for you. So I would urge you to talk to an attorney to get the specific details on your plan and make sure that you have something that is appropriate for that. Okay.
Right, right.
Thanks
I
for the
just,
question.
I just wanted to add something, Preston. Listen, buddy. Here's the thing. A lot of people put the carriage before the horse. Am
Yes.
I coming up? Okay.
Yes.
Because listen, you don't need to spend thousands of dollars to pay an attorney, okay, or form an LLC and form a company, form an LLC's, C corporation, subchapter S, all of that, and then you don't even have a deal. Okay?
You have a deal.
The first thing you gotta do, and I tell people, don't waste your money. Okay, you first find the deal, put it.
Stop. Say it again. First.
Find the property, put it under contract, because once you put it under contract, the
Yes.
wheel starts turning.
Yes.
And at that particular time, you can
Yes.
seek the help of an advisor, an accountant,
Yes.
an attorney.
Yes.
Hey, what's the best form to do? Because you can always do that while you're in escrow. Okay,
Yes.
even after the escrow closes in your name and your friend's names, you
Yes.
can basically quit claim or grant deed that property or that title to your LLC. So that becomes irrelevant in terms of what should I start with. Don't waste your money, buddy. Okay,
Yeah.
first find the
Yeah.
property. First
Yeah.
find out, where you want to invest. What your plan is, short term, long term. Is it a wholesale? Is it a fix and flip? Are you going to hold long term? Put that structure in mind, put it under contract, and then move on.
okay, you got to understand like the business idea, right?
Okay, Preston, I think this is a lot deeper than really we're getting into. I'm glad to talk to you offline, but really let's not go into this on this call. This is a little broader. And we're really looking more about real estate investment. So I appreciate you asking, but we really kind of need to move on with some other people with questions as well. Chris DeSell, I see your hand up. Haven't seen you for a while, Chris. What's going on?
Hey everybody! I just wanted to say, Preston, I just texted you, or I messaged you. Charlie Kramer, he's based in Orlando. He can walk you through what you need to do, and then, like these guys said, get a deal first. But talk to Charlie; he'll set you up in a proper structure that's good for
Is that a
you.
loan officer or is that an agent?
He's an attorney, but
He's
he
an
literally
attorney,
knows
and he's gonna help me
what you
start
want.
an LLC or a C corp that can, be divided funds for me and my friends.
Correct.
No. All right, is he available right now? Because I believe
Oh,
it's
I gave him
6:30
the
right
phone
now.
number. So you can tell him I recommended you.
Okay, I think we're just being played with here, so I'm going to go ahead and just move on. Look, I appreciate that, and Preston, if you need some help, you've been given some advice, and it's time for us to move on. So how often do you see this? I see the same all the time. People are pitched. The first thing you have to do is buy a LLC. I see this all the time. I say it's malpractice. It makes no sense at all. The number one thing, just repeat it again, because I see this all the time. The number one thing is what, Sam? You said the first step.
The first step is to find a suitable property,
Yes.
okay, that you can actually put under contract.
Yes.
That's the first step. Don't miss that.
Yes.
Forming an LLC, not to mention, every year you got to pay $800. The franchise tax board. You got to make a statement of identification. Costs you crap load of money just because one day you want to invest in real estate. Okay, so find the property, put it under contract,
100%.
do your due diligence, and then consult an attorney or whoever, what form is best for you. Then you can always put that property and they get the proper vesting and put that property in the LLC's name or the corporation and all of that. So that just make it simple. I'm just trying to make things simple for you guys. Okay, don't make things complicated. Because Einstein, once, I studied physics, so I'm a fan of Einstein, Albert Einstein. He said, if you cannot explain a concept very simply so that a 7-year-old can understand it, you don't understand that concept. Okay, so if you have to get too complicated about it, you don't understand it. Neither does your mentor or whoever it is. It has to be able to be explained very simply. Okay, and that's your power, simplicity. instead
I
of
have clients who buy property in probate court, and then they win the property at the auction, then they form the LLC and close
Yes.
in the LLC. Then they don't even have an LLC at that point. You don't need one. And I have other clients who bought an open LLC, thought they were going to use it. They didn't realize that they were late, didn't pay the fees, so technically the LLC was disbanded. It
That's
cost them
right.
more money and time to reinitiate the LLC than was worth forming a new LLC in the first place. So definitely get the property first. That's by far the best advice.
And franchise tax board, these guys, I'm telling you, they're worse than the IRS. Okay, they're on you like a fly and crap. You know what I'm talking about? You move, you just, I mean, you miss a day, and they send you 10 different forms.
Yeah.
I'm saying, my God, I'm just late by one day, and next, a couple of weeks later, I get a stack of mails like that. Oh, we're going to levy this. It's just like all about threatening. I mean, you don't need that kind of stuff on you without even having to found the property first.
John, I see your hand up. You want to ask a question of Sam?
My question actually, Bill, is for you. I know that you mentioned of 11 different ways to get listings. Could you go over some of those?
So this call is about real estate investment. I have another program I run on Thursdays, probateweekly.com. And the episodes of that show I record and post on my YouTube channel. My YouTube is Bill Gross EXP. So I have 3 different videos I've done that have the number 11 in them. One is 11 ways to list property in real estate for agents or investors to find them. Number 2, 11 ways to make money in real estate, in probate real estate. And 3, 11 ways to buy property in probate real estate. So all those, if you go to my YouTube channel, Bill Gross at EXP, you'll see those 3. If you search under the channel 11 ways, you'll see those 3 videos. They're all right there. Okay?
Thanks.
That's about an hour long class I did in Sam's Club. I think I did about an hour one time for his students.
And you are Mr. Probate. I mean, I tell everybody, he says, I say, oh, what about probate? I said, Bill Gross, he's Mr. Probate. He knows all about probate. As a matter of fact, I was going to talk to you about a system that we've got right now for pre-probate. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that. So I was just talking to Taylor, a club director, and I said, you know what? Actually, she said, Sam, you say it all the time. It's having to do with probate. Why don't you talk to Bill about it? So I'll be calling you later.
I'd help Taylor in time. She knows that.
Yeah.
Good. Emmanuel Dominguez, welcome to our call. And you have a question for Sam as well?
Yeah, I have a question. I guess it's just a general question. So I'm still underage. I'm still 16, and I've been hearing about this whole real estate thing. There's like wholesale, there's investing in property, and there's like, I guess it would be like Airbnb, renting out apartments, that type of thing. So I really want to get into this whole marketplace because this isn't, because my dad tells me, he's all like, businesses, yes, they're good, but depending on the type of business, it can always fall down. And he was also explaining to me that real estate is always there, and it's always there. People are always buying properties, renting out properties. There's always going to be, this market is never, is never going to die out. So if I wanted to get started right now, to get started early, what would be like the step to like getting into this whole real estate thing?
Man, Sam, to be 16 again, starting out with what you know and what I know would be dangerous, huh?
Yeah. I think Emmanuel, did you miss the first part of this broadcast?
This is my second time I've been in the Zoom.
Let me rephrase his
no.
question. This is kind of what I think he's really saying, Sam. And I get asked this question regularly too. Real estate's like a smorgasbord. There's 100 times more ways I can make real estate than I could ever eat.
That's true.
And I want to put them all on my plate, but it's all falling over the place, and I don't want to eat too much. How do I learn what's available and pick the right area for me to make real estate my income and my wealth?
Because I just started. I have had this business since I was 15. It's like this resale business. It's kind of like, I also have my own website now. I just launched my own website like 3 months ago at the beginning of this year. So it's kind of like an e-commerce. My website is like an e-commerce. I sell like consumer electronics. But my main business, the business right now that I'm making, I guess, a good amount of money from is the resale business. So I resell iPhones, brand new AirPods, just any like electronic I can get my hands on for like a lower price, and then I sell it for obviously higher.
So
Yeah.
how, what should his first steps be?
I want to first of all congratulate you, Emmanuel. I mean, you're a true entrepreneur. I mean, you're starting out at age 16, doing all kinds of stuff like that, man. That is fantastic. Okay,
Yeah,
number
thank you.
one.
And then I kind of, with this like journey, because I really started putting all of my, will into this whole business thing. I think it was like before the year started. It was like November. That's when I, started, really going like every single day, consistency. And I came to realize that, doing entrepreneurship, it can get you a lot more money than working a part-time job. And I've seen it because, reselling, wholesaling, that type of thing. I've been doing it, and it's made more money than some of my friends, make working part-time jobs.
Right. Emmanuel, listen, buddy. Here's the thing. Because of your age and because you cannot take title to a property, the best thing for you to do is wholesaling. You're already wholesaling products. So why don't you just wholesale real estate? Okay.
Right.
You can put, you can actually, because you're 16, you can't really go into a binding contract. You got to be 18, but you can use your father, somebody else's, put a property under contract. You don't need a lot of money. All you need is your level of enthusiasm and energy that you're demonstrating. Of course, you have to have some knowledge of how to communicate with some of these sellers out there. Put a property under contract. You don't need to invest any money in it. Like I said, it's just tying up the property, especially if you're directly working with home sellers, as Bill knows, very easy.
Right.
Put it under contract and then find some, if you do your proper analysis, because like I said, mentoring, getting the understanding that you know how to figure out the after repair value of the property. If you can understand how to evaluate a property properly, and then you put it under contract, you can always sell it to a flipper who's going
It's
to
like selling a contract, basically.
Yes, assigning your contract, we call it assignment. You assign your contract to a flipper who is willing to take that property from you, give you 5,000, 10,000, 15. We've made as much as 50, 70, $80,000 on assigning contracts depending upon the value of the property. Okay, you assign it to somebody else, let them do the hard work, you walk away with an assignment fee, what we call a wholesale fee. And that's one strategy that I teach in my VIP programs, because a lot of people don't have the money or they don't want to risk the money, but they do need the knowledge in terms of assessment, properly assessing the value of the property and knowing how to actually find properties out there. So time up on the contract, assign it to somebody else. It's all legal, okay? There's nothing illegal about it.
Right.
All right? And you collect your money in escrow, okay? You fully disclose that. Everything is up, up and up. Okay, we don't do anything illegal. Everything disclosure. Like Bill knows. that's your grandson?
Yes, it is.
And
My new
it's
partner.
beautiful. So it's a proper disclosure that you got to do. Once everybody knows, you can walk away with a nice chunk of money because you're already doing wholesaling. If you're interested and maybe you want to make calls for us, maybe you're a good telemarketer, give me a call or give Bill a call and we can probably put you to work.
Or next Thursday, come to the LA Real Estate Association event at 6 o'clock in Culver City at the Inman Center. Meet Sam, see his team, learn about it, and be a great way to help
we'd
you.
be happy to help you out, man.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Great answer. Thank you. Jen, you had your hand up, and I'm struggling to both hold my grandson, and find you. You're muted. Go ahead.
Hi. Hi, Bill and Sam and everyone. Nice to meet all of you. So I'm an agent with Keller Williams Advisors on the West Side and also an investor. I own a fourplex in Hawthorne and thank you. So I'm specializing in multifamily properties and working with clients that are interested in that as well. And so my question is for both of you gentlemen. I'm sure you're aware of the SB 9 ordinance that just came into effect in January. And for those of you who don't know, you can split a lot into two that's designated for single family and build up to 4 units on those 2 lots. So my question to you is, have either of you worked with this ordinance and do you know anybody who has? And what has the experience been?
You want to go, Bill, first?
So I will share, Jan, that in general, I'm very concerned about the city of Los Angeles. And to me, it just seems like in the state of California, they just seem to be adding regulations so quickly that investors can't keep up with the full implications. I had a client literally who was an escrow to buy a duplex. And when SB 9 was passed, went into effect January 1st, fell out of escrow because while he could have theoretically, it was a house with an unpermitted garage, he was going to make it into a duplex. He could have theoretically put 4 properties. If you read the marketing material on the bill, the 3 units would have to be rent controlled and low income Section 8. And the problem is, while that sounds great in Sacramento, that doesn't work in mid cities, which is a hot market where the rents would be $3,000 or $4,000 a month. That's why he was buying the duplex. All of a sudden, he really couldn't even build a second property because the second property would have been rent controlled and would have been low income. So I don't think these laws are particularly vetted out yet, and they're also being litigated because there are cities who are saying to the state, hey, that's our local zoning law. And so you could buy a property assuming the SB 9 goes into effect, and you're taking the risk that SB 9 will still be there 6 months or a year from now. So I know it sounds great politically. I literally hosted a neighborhood council event last night for our incoming city council members, hoping to hear from them. And they all talk about how great it's going to be and it's going to build all kinds of housing. As a real estate agent, I haven't seen that effect. I'd love to. I'm a listing agent, would love to see it happen, but I don't see it making those properties more valuable yet. Sam, what do you see?
Yeah, I agree with you. I wish some of these politicians, instead of sitting in their ivory towers and making these rules and laws and whatever the hell they are doing, first talk to people in the trenches. Figure out from us, from the people that are involved, and find out what's viable, what's not viable. I mean, they make all these stupid laws, and sometimes, as Bill just talked about, they're being litigated, they're being challenged from the local authorities. Although, SB 9, and of course, state of California, you expedite the process, let them do the, split the lot, put a forfeit. It's not the reality of the situation. The reality is, anytime you deal with the government, especially with the zoning department, you are going to find out that they are not the most efficient or effective or even proficient at what they do, or maybe they drag things on forever and ever and ever, because they have to justify the existence in there. Okay, this is the way I see it. So to me, I've read it. I know some of my people are doing it, but because it's so new, it really hasn't gotten to a point to where we can actually make a statement about its viability, whether or not it worked properly. Is this something that needs to be modified? Just like ADUs. I'm talking
just like ADUs.
Yeah, I'm talking to my appraiser, and it says, look, if I do an ADU on this lot, okay, what's going to happen? I'm spending $100,000. Will the value of my property go up by $100,000? He goes, I'm not sure that it would, because we don't have enough comparables like yours with the ADUs to be able to give you the value that you want. You see what I'm talking about? So it's just too new. I know you're with it, and you're very smart because you already know what's going on. You already have a fourplex. That's fantastic. Okay, but the reality is, when you look at anything that's new, got to give it some time to see how it evolves. It's about its evolution ultimately.
ADUs, the regulations changed. I had a client who bought a property to put an ADU in the back of a converted garage. And it was perfect because it had an alleyway in the back with access separately. To find out that the foundation they was going to build on wasn't sufficient. They had basically tear the whole thing down and build it again. Another client who bought a house and it had an ADU in the back, had not been rented, been used for storage. So he put somebody in as a Airbnb. The guy squats. Come to find out that when you rent the ADU in the back, the front house becomes rent stabilization organization or ordinance or rent control in the city of Los Angeles. So now he has an ADU getting income in the back, and he has a front house that's subject to rent control and all that means today with COVID. So what I would say is these things are moving very quickly. The governments move very slowly. And if you can, as an agent, understand it and present it to your clients, good for you. I think there's a value there. The clients are looking for opportunities if you can make it happen. But for me as a practitioner, it's still moving so quickly that to invest my time and effort in something that is so fungible. It just is very concerning.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. And I mean, I tell everybody right now, try to stay away from any kind of a long-term project, whether it's an ADU expansion of your property for two main reasons. We don't know where the market's headed, number one, because there's a lot of uncertainty about all the stuff that's going on. There are a lot of theories out there. And the number two, the cost of materials and labor is insane right now. I mean, things have doubled or tripled in price. Why would you want to spend $250,000 for an addition that would have cost you otherwise about 120 or 110? Maybe wait a little bit. Maybe let the market and things stabilize. Maybe we should, hopefully we should be, completely out of this pandemic. Maybe things will come down again, because right now, finding a good labor, very difficult, and cost of materials skyrocketing. So not a very ideal time to build.
Yeah. If I may just add a little value, one of the reasons I actually bought my fourplex in Hawthorne was because it's a separate city outside of LA and it's not rent control. So I bought the property and I acquired 3 units of tenants that wanted to stay. They were paying far below market rent. So over the course of doing the repairs and several months later, I was able to raise the rents 30%. To get it to market rent. And everybody was happy. They wanted to stay. They signed on to a new lease. So now I'm cash flowing, which is amazing. So I would say to some of you investors that want to invest in LA County, start looking at those cities that are not part of LA, just to have that benefit of not being rent control, if that is what that city qualifies for. So just have that in your mind, because like you said, that is a factor in a lot of places in LA County. So that really helped me in my investing journey so far.
Good point, Jennifer.
Well, that's fantastic.
Hawthorne's booming, Inglewood's booming, Culver City's booming, Burbank's booming.
Well, where isn't booming? I mean, look at the high desert area. Properties in 29 Palms. I don't know if you guys know where 29 Palms is.
Marine Base,
Joshua Tree. It's like Yucca Valley, Joshua Tree, and 29 Palms. Properties that were selling for 40 and 50,000, now a piece of crap which needs a lot of work, maybe 50, just sold for $160,000. Wow. That still needs another 50,000, and then they think they're going to sell it for 295. I mean, this is a property that was just not too long ago was only $30,000 or $40,000. So, I mean, every place seems to be booming. And a lot of it is obviously because of inflation, because we got that going right now. How long will it last? What's going to happen? Nobody knows. But I tell everybody, if you hold real estate long-term, you will never lose.
Okay? Well, the cash flows is from the beginning, yes. I think that's the thing Jennifer hit is, if the cash flows is great. Now, to buy property in LA to get cash flows is very challenging right now.
Yeah. And that's awesome. So well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you for answering my question. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for coming on, Jennifer. Okay. Who else has a question, challenge, problem? Who's got a property under contract they want to present? Anybody? Here's a chance with a master, Sam Sadat. We brought him on here to answer questions. We got about.
So Bill, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, this is Dave. Sorry, I didn't know how to raise my hand other than just to do this. So forgive me, and you may not have seen me. But Sam, I recall you a few minutes ago making a comment about, suggesting perhaps that somebody might want to sit on, on the sidelines. It was right after you were acknowledging perhaps the rising costs of materials and so forth, and the uncertainty that goes along with that. But subsequent to that, you made a comment about where you, in essence, acknowledged, as I was going to try to point out, and I know you're way ahead of me, I'm sure, about the inflation. I mean, our U.S. government put in trillions of dollars of more dollar bills into circulation in the last couple of years. Everybody thought that was, not everybody, but some people thought that was going to be free money because, gee, I got a check from the government. Look what I can do. And we all know that that's not true. That's that creates the inflation that you're describing with, that word uncertainty. But it would seem to me that I cannot anticipate that inflation abating anytime soon. So, and I'm not trying to be harsh here, Sam, and I've heard great things about you, and it's a pleasure meeting you, by the way. But it would seem to me that that inflationary pressure is going to exist for quite some time, and very likely, if even though it may not look great right now, ultimately, I think you said, or someone here just a moment ago also, that real estate's always going to be, over time, a smart play anyhow.
Mhm. Yeah, Dave. I mean, hey, listen, I don't have a crystal ball, neither do you, or no one, neither does anybody else. We're all kind of like theorizing, and based on certain things that we see, a lot of people are saying that we're headed for a recession, and we know that if you go into a recession, the Fed's gonna have to cut the rates. Okay. In fact, right now you're talking about the twos and the tens inversion. I don't know if you've heard about that. The Treasury yield, which now the 10-year is actually paying less than the 2-year, which is insane. I mean, every time that has happened, we've been headed to a recession, so to speak. There's a lot of talk about that. I'm not necessarily saying that we're going to have a crash. Bill and I agree on that all the time. Are we going to have a crash? I don't think so. But I believe there is going to be a correction, and whether or not this inflation is going to go away anytime soon, who knows? And we just talked about it. To me, anytime is a good time to buy real estate, as long as you have one thing clear in your mind. How long am I going to be able to hold on to this property? If you can hang on to your property 7 to 10 years, you will not lose in Southern California. Statistically, you're going to go down and you're just going to go way back up again. And that's the way it's been over 80 years that I've been tracking. So yes, I agree with you. Inflation may be with us for a little while, but should that stop you from actually buying real estate? I don't think so. If you get a good deal, if you get a good deal, by all means, get it. If you can get it in LA, get it in the high desert.
Well, especially if the numbers make sense right now.
There you go.
If it cash flows now, not to mention if there's a recession, historically, while only once in history have housing prices gone down, if there's a recession historically, interest rates go down. So you might, if it makes sense today and you buy it at 4.5%, we have a recession, rates may go back to 3.5% or 3%. You refinance, you actually have more cash flow than you would otherwise. So again, as long as the cash flows, and as Sam said, you can hold on to it for 7 or 10 years, then it makes a lot of sense. I'm a little back to a couple more questions. Thank you, Dave, so much. Always great to see you.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Pleasure.
So one of my great regular guests says, will you invest in a flip in today's market that would be complete in 6 months? And if so, how would you look at the exit? So I think this may add a discussion where I said I would not personally. Now this is my nature. I'm not a fix and flipper. I don't like construction. I don't understand it. I get nervous. I can't sleep at night. I like buying multifamily that cash flow. My money's working for me. I go back the next day, make some more money, take that and put that into cash flow. This other person is a contractor and a fix and flipper, and they're saying, we had this discussion. I said I wouldn't buy something that took 6 months or more to flip. What do you say, Sam, in this market here in LA?
I totally agree with you. I think I alluded to that a little bit earlier. I mean, all of my students that are involved in fix and flip, by the way, like you, I don't like to fix and flip properties. Okay, I do 2 things right now. I'm actually doing 3 things in addition to my mentoring, which is for other people. But for me personally, I am doing 1, private lending. I've got a good sum of money that I'm essentially making available for people.
He's rich. He's rich.
Okay, all right. You're not doing so bad yourself. So I actually have that. Plus, I manage a pool of funds for a lot of other affluent people. So we actually loan that. Yeah, we get 8, 9, 10, 11 to 12%, between 8 to 12% return. So that's one aspect of my business. All collateralized real estate properties right here in Southern California, first mortgages, ton of equity in the property, which means, moderate LTVs, maybe 60, 70% max LTVs, good locations. That's one. The next thing, we just talked about it with Emmanuel. We talked about wholesaling. We put properties under contract. We assign the contract. We make money. No fixing, no flipping, no contractors, no sleepless nights. Okay.
Nice.
And lastly, we buy and hold. So we syndicate apartment buildings. We have been for many years. We kind of slowed down because of crazy prices, but we have syndicated 1 marijuana cultivation in Adelanto, and we have done 2 farms in Davis, California. Both of them are almond farms. So we've done that in addition to the apartment building. So those are the 3 things. Syndication is long-term, okay? Assignment of properties, very quick, short, quick money. and of course, loaning money and financing flips for investors. It's sort of like maybe a year, year and a half, sometimes maybe 6 months, that one, between 6 months to a year and a half. So we have short-term money, mid-term money, and long-term money. If you can create 3 streams of income for yourselves to where you can make quick bucks by flipping properties, not fix and flip by signing properties, okay? And then you have the ability to buy and hold for yourself for over a long period of time, you're going to be just fine.
Very good. Nice. We got time for 2 quick last calls. Nick Cates.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks as always, Bill and Sam. Great to hear your thoughts on things. I'll make it quick. What's your thought on perhaps purchasing a investment property, a single family home, and actually get the entitlements and the approved plans and then selling that in this market, as opposed to doing the full flip yourself?
Bill, go ahead.
I mean, if you're asking me personally for my own money, that's not what I would do. But I think it's, you have to know that business, right? And if you're able to, if you have a skill in getting entitlements, and I have friends who do that. They buy that and they buy a property, I help them buy it, and they get through the plans, and they get drawings, and they sell the whole package. If you have that skill, more power to you. I don't know how to do that. I wouldn't invest my money in it because it would keep me up at night worrying about some clerk in LA hasn't hit the stamp on the paper yet, and we don't have the deal done. But I know people who do that, and nothing against it. I'm not sure what your question is. I know it's like any other business. It's a business, and you have to know it, and you have to work hard at it.
Yeah, I know what Nick's question is. He says that he wants to buy a property, a single family home, and then he's going to get the preliminary plans approved by the city for an addition or an ADU, and then sell that because it's value add. Okay, so okay, now I bought it for $450,000. I got all the plans approved. I worked my butt off. I got the stamp from the city on the paper finally after 6 months, and now I can sell this property for $550,000. I haven't done it personally. I know some people are doing it on a regular basis. But Nick, whatever it is you want to do, buddy, you gotta get a direction. I see people that fail in any business, particularly with real estate, because they jump from one branch of the tree to the other. As soon as they work on it for a month or two, nothing comes out of it, they jump into the other one. They work on another one and then jump into another one. It's never going to get you anywhere. Okay? In this day and age, focus, more than focus, laser focus. You have to have laser focus and become a dominant factor, okay, in whatever field and whatever area of real estate that you choose to be in. They all can be good. There is nothing one better than the other. It's a matter of preference. It's a matter of your personality, your skill set. Yeah. And once you get it, just stick to it. 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year. You give a strategy 1 full year with your 100% attention. There is no way, I bet with you anything you want, there is no way you're not going to succeed in that. There's absolutely no way, because you will be violating the laws of the universe. Yeah. The laws of nature does not work like that. Okay, when you sow, you will reap. But you got to keep sowing, and you got to plant the seeds in the spring so you can reap them in the fall. Okay, if you don't do it, then you won't get your harvest, which means that you got to continually work your area, farm your area, 100% attention, no distraction. Oh, let's do this today, let's do that tomorrow. In about a year, I guarantee you, Nick, whatever strategy you pick, you'll succeed in it.
I go that.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Lucas, last question. Take us home.
Yeah, thank you.
Oops. Sorry, I hit your mute button by accident.
Oh, can you
I'm sorry. I tried to unmute you and I muted you. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No problem. No, thank you so much for having me. Sam, the thing you just said, it took me about the last year and a half just to figure out myself that, getting into real estate, and I knew I wanted to get in from the beginning, but there's just so many options, so many available, different investments. I was all over the place, and I started doing research, here and there, and I really got nowhere. So I finally picked my market in the last, 4 months, and I've really dove deep which is Airbnb. I guess my question is, right now I live in California. I am from Tampa, Florida, also a really great market. What is your guys' thoughts on investing long-term, not long-term, but long distance? So if I were to buy a house for Airbnb in Tampa, let's say.
Yeah.
I love Florida. I've been investing in Florida. I like Texas. The right property for me, if it cash flows and it's in one of those two states, I'm buying it. So I wish I had more time to buy more. I wish I had more money to buy more. But as long as it cash flows, I would say that's the one criteria, is it has to cash flow for me personally. That's my nature for long distance. I have a friend who was on the call who left, who did fix and flips in Kansas. He and his wife researched, found that to be the best market for them. Nearby was a neighborhood they kind of enjoyed hanging out in. So they combined a little business with some pleasure. And he's, I think, fixed and flipped like 2 or 3 properties so far and made good money at it. Living here in LA, going to Kansas, coming back and forth every few months. So it can be done. Just like Sam just said, though, it doesn't really matter. I would pick one area. Or if you want to make, wholesaling across the United States your deal, then you have to have a system to do that as well. But whatever your system is, focus in on one system rather than hopping in and out of markets and hopping in and out of different systems. That's my advice. Sam?
Yeah, I agree, Lucas. I think that, first of all, congratulations. You ultimately found, that focus and, focusing and, getting into something deeply, instead of like being a mile wide and an inch deep, you figured out, okay, it's better be an inch wide and a mile deep. Okay, that's how you get results. I like out of state, especially in this market when California is becoming totally unaffordable for a lot of people. I totally get that. And I have owned real estate outside of California. I don't now because of logistical issues. I just want to add to what Bill said, clearly cash flow. If I'm going out of state, I want cash flow. Okay, if I'm in California, I may say, okay, forget cash flow, appreciation is fantastic. Okay, but if I'm going out of state, I want cash flow, number one. And number two, deal with the logistical issues, meaning who have people that you truly trust. Okay, who's your property manager? Okay, who is the boots on the ground for you? Taking a look at the property. Do they know the area? Do they know the neighborhood? Because I don't know, LA is big enough. We don't know everything about LA, but let alone someplace else. And I know you said you're from Tampa, Florida, but I'm pretty sure there are neighborhoods, even in Tampa, that you're probably not very familiar with. So having boots on the ground, people that you trust, a good management company, a good contractor, they're essential to your success. Otherwise, I have seen people that have invested out of state, not having those factors in place, and a lot of them have lost their shirts, man.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of them, and the property was run down, bad, poor management, vacancies, it was a nightmare. So it can work both ways. But all I can say is go into areas that you're familiar with and have a power mastermind group of people, a master team of people that you totally trust. In that case, I'm all for it.
Just, I say Florida. I used to live in Florida. I go to Florida about once a year. I love visiting Florida, and then it makes my travel to Florida tax deductible. So that's part of why I like the Southeast. I like Boca Raton. That's just where I used to live, and I know the area, so I've invested there. But I would say as long as you can get the job done, and I think Sam laid out those criteria. Hey, look, we're kind of come to the end of our time here. We could talk with Sam for hours. He is a deep well of knowledge, experience, and success. I can't emphasize enough. You want to meet him in person, shake his hand, and give him a big hug. Or me.
I'm a hugger, and so are you.
No, I only hug you. I'm not really a hugger, but I hug you. I know you are. But every Thursday, this coming a week from Thursday, at the Inman Center, this just shows you how much I want to see Sam. I normally don't go out at night for business. I work from about 8 to about 5 or 6 o'clock. This event starts at 6. It's at the Inman Center. No offense to them. I'm Jewish. They're Muslim. I don't normally hang out at Muslim centers wearing a kippah. But you know what? They're very nice to me there. Next Thursday, so that's going to be the 14th, 6 p.m. at the Inman Center, is the LA Real Estate Association group. Sam's there with his team and his program. I'm there as well. Come see him. Or in the meantime, go to his website, samsrealestateclub.com. Check it out. He's got some great programs from low cost to mentoring to more in-depth programs. He's one of the leading real estate mentors in terms of success in Southern California. I have nothing to do with them financially. I don't get a nickel. I get the joy of hopefully helping you make more income and make more wealth. So Sam, on behalf of everybody on the call today, we went along, but thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill, very much. Thank you all for spending a little bit of time with us. I'm always happy to be your guest. You're a gentleman, and we always, of course, very close, and we see things eye to eye. Folks, any of you guys want to contact me personally? 310-909-9188. That's my personal cell phone. 310-909-9188. And like Bill mentioned, samsrealestateclub.com. I'll be happy to hear from you and help you out any which way possible. Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. So this every
all.
Tuesday. It's realestateInvestingZoom.com. We also stream it live to YouTube and Facebook. We also record it and put it on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Bill Gross EXP.